So then, possibly the most dominant manufacturer in Le Mans racing has decided it wants to enter Formula 1. But let's be honest, it's the worst kept secret in Formula 1 since, well, 2 days ago when we found out that Daniel Ricciardo had been kicked to the curb by McLaren. And it has to be made quite clear, though, that Audi will be joining in 2026 as a power unit supplier and not, as many expected, as its own team. Now, rumours are still flying around that Audi is set to buy about 75% of Sauber and run the team as its own entry out of Switzerland. And, well, actually, it's sort of expected. You know, we're expecting that very, very soon. But it hasn't happened. Yet. We can act surprised when it does. This is also coming at a time when Porsche is expected to buy into Red Bull and take over the engine side of that operation as well, meaning it would be 2 Volkswagen Group names in Formula 1 and at the same time have more names on the grid in terms of engine supply, a total of 5 versus the 3 currently on the grid. Now, Porsche and Audi also have history with building hybrid engines and have been attracted into Formula 1 because of the new engine rules coming in for 2026. That haven't been changed to suit them in any way whatsoever. Audi will have seen what Mercedes, a fellow German manufacturer, has done and think that they too can achieve what Mercedes has achieved. But they will also need to look at those who came before to serve as a little bit of a warning from history. BMW, Honda, Toyota, 3 manufacturers who turned up in the early 2000s and spent an absolute boatload of cash to not achieve much. Honda also spent an absolutely mammoth amount of cash just to catch up with everybody else when their return in 2015 was, well, less than stellar, let's say. But Audi is being cautious. They're expecting mid-grid to start with and want to be at the front sort of around 2029 or 2030 and be fighting with the likes of Red Bull, Mercedes and Ferrari. You know, assuming those 3 teams are still at the front come 2029 or 2030. I don't know. I don't have a time machine, nor do I have a crystal ball. Audi is coming in and being realistic. They're not expecting to turn up and find it to be super easy like LMP1 turned out to be. Now, Audi as a new manufacturer, though, is supposed to, and it's not actually confirmed this rule will exist, have some extra wiggle room when it comes to getting into the sport. In their first year in Formula 1, they will be allowed to spend more money to get their engines to be more reliable and more powerful, while the likes of Mercedes, Ferrari and Renault will be way more restricted. Now, this is a rule that Ferrari, Mercedes and Renault are concerned about. They are worried that Red Bull will hand Porsche their existing engine design because, you know, Porsche potentially coming in and working with Red Bull, then have Porsche spend loads of money making that Red Bull engine overpowered, and then use that engine in the Red Bulls, with Red Bull not spending much money at all and, you know, exploiting a major loophole in the rulebook. Whether Sauber, if it does indeed sell to Audi, tries that same trick, remains to be seen. Given that they'd be handing over a Ferrari engine to Audi, yeah, I'm going to have to hit X to doubt on that one. But what will separate Audi's operation from the Mercedes one is that while Mercedes builds its engines in Brixworth, Audi will be building theirs in Germany. And it'll be the first time since the BMWs in the, well, ironically, Saubers back in 2009 will have been built in Germany. Now, Audi did point this out, but whether it was a dig or not at Mercedes, I'm not sure. But, you know, I don't get German humour. But what was funny, though, was someone online commented that we don't want stupid electric engines in Formula 1, Audi shouldn't be allowed to join. So why Formula 1 and why now? Well, Formula 1 has made a commitment in 2026 to change the engine formula and ditch traditional fuels in favour of more sustainable options. Translation: biofuel. Audi wants in on this to try and help develop cars that run on this stuff, and if Formula 1 can help accelerate the development of these fuels and help reduce the costs associated with them, as they helped with, you know, hybrid cars turning up on the roads today, then maybe the general public won't be under as much pressure to swap out their petrol or diesel cars for electric ones in 2030 or whenever the big switch is supposed to be happening. We won't be filling up with E10 or diesel or whatever, and we'll be able to fill up on using something that allows us to run our proper engines for a few more years. But maybe that change has come too late. Audi's entry to Formula 1 might have somebody else on the sidelines absolutely seething right now, and that man is Michael Andretti. As you might have seen around on an internet and even on this channel, Michael Andretti, the son of Mario Andretti, is trying to get a team onto the grid and is very enthusiastic about doing so. Another American team, as F1 tries to expand in America and also bringing back his dad's legacy and name back into Formula 1. The sport would also then have 22 cars on the grid every race, and Andretti is well prepared to foot the $200 million bill just to get the entry sorted, let alone build 2 cars. So why does Audi get to be on the grid and not Andretti? Because Audi will be buying one of the existing franchises in Formula 1. A bit like how the American sports leagues work, like how the Brooklyn Dodgers moved to LA, or how the Oakland Raiders moved to LA, or the Minneapolis Lakers moved to LA. Those franchises are locked in, and getting another one is a very tall and expensive order, as we are currently seeing. But it is concerning. Formula 1 seems to have bent over backwards for Audi and potentially Porsche as well, but Andretti is left on the side going, dude, I'm right here. Some would say it's part of the Eurocentric nature of Formula 1. Some would say that it's because Porsche and Audi are bigger than Andretti and appeal to a much wider audience, and therefore be a much better commercial option. I mean, yes, Mario Andretti is a legend of motorsport. I'd probably have him in my top 3 drivers of all time along with Jim Clark and Sebastian Loeb. But if the only argument is when it comes to what can you bring to the sport is we're Andretti, then it's a case of, okay, you're Andretti, but what else have you got? And I'd wager that Brabham would have to jump through the same hoops if it was to come back to Formula 1 as well. It's also not a good look when Stefano Domenicali, who is the current commercial boss of Formula 1, used to work for Lamborghini, who is owned by Audi, which is owned by VW. Who else is looking to get onto the grid? Porsche, who is owned by VW. And with Audi in, it looks like Porsche will be not far behind. But Audi seems to have its head screwed on correctly. They've announced they've now signed on as an engine supplier, and apparently they started building an engine 6 months ago. They're also headed up by a bloke who used to work for BMW and Cosworth, so they've at least got someone in who knows what they are doing. They want to come in and sort of be mid-grid with their engines and work their way forwards. They will be doing this the German way. Properly. It will be interesting to see where they'll slot in come 2026. Just gotta, wait on the announcement of them buying Sauber now. So then, a thing that has happened in Formula 1 and some opinions and analysis on that thing. If this thing has made you think things about the thing, then click the like button thing and also click the subscribe button thing so you never miss out on anything that I do here on this channel. Massive thanks to the kind folk over at Patreon for the continued support. And if you want to help out with the purchasing of images for my videos, you can join the people on your screen by clicking the link in the description or using the super thanks thing that's also down there. And there's also social links and Discord links in that box as well. So until next time, I've been AdmiralLaWind. Have a cracking day wherever you live in the world, and I'll see you all again soon for another video, which will actually be Sunday if you're into that kind of thing. If you search up Grid Finder on YouTube, I'm doing a little interview and driving session with them on Sunday evening at 8 o'clock UK time. So if you want to see that, go to Grid Finder, subscribe to them, and watch that when it all goes live. Or if you're not into that, you can just wait around for my next video, whenever that is. Usually Monday, that's my schedule, so bye.